India is a major step closer towards securing a diplomatic shield for envoy Devyani Khobragade. According to reports, Devyani has been granted a UN identity card along with access documents. These documents will now be sent to the United States State Department for mandatory approval. The US government being on its annual Christmas holiday, the process is likely to be completed only by the end of this week. Well, in another diplomatic victory for New Delhi, Devyani Khobragade has been allowed exemption from a personal appearance in court today. Her presence was required for a pre-trial meet in the visa fraud and false statement case against which the Indian government had submitted a petition. Meanwhile, the US has sought more time to submit details sought by Delhi about salaries of teachers and other staff of American schools in India. A decision on this is expected later today. Joining us live at this point is former diplomat Prabhu Dayal, who's been following this case very closely. Mr. Dayal was Consul General in New York from September 2008 till February 2013. Mr. Dayal, you've worked with Devyani Khobragade very closely in a professional, case. Is she a victim in this case, you think, or is the situation of her own making, like Washington claims?
You know, I am greatly pained at the humiliating arrest and the ordeal which Devyani has had to go through. She was my Deputy Consul General in New York, and
yes.
I met Sangeeta Richards many times when she came to the consulate. Sangeeta Richards always appeared happy, but she also looked very smart and clever. And I had advised Devyani to be careful. I thought that a person like this could get a very good job in Delhi itself. Why has she come as a domestic worker to New York? I also told Devyani that there would be many people around who could misguide Sangeeta Richards.
Yeah.
I think that is precisely what has happened. I think Sangeeta Richards deserted Devyani because she wanted to get a trafficking visa and stay on in the United States.
Mr. Dayal, we believe that you were concerned that Devyani may get into trouble. Like you said, you knew both Devyani and you'd met Sangeeta, several times at the Chancery, campus and things like that. So you had a sense already, did you, that there could be trouble?
No, I never said that I was concerned that Devyani would get into trouble. I was concerned that somebody like Sangeeta Richards could desert Devyani and leave the job, and thereby, of course, go to the US authorities and ask for a trafficking visa.
Just to try and, get your sense, Mr. Dayal, of what your takeaway is from the manner in which the United States has handled this entire case and the lessons, if any, that India could learn from what's been happening and is happening right now.
Well, as I said, cases of this kind can recur. And this is because of the difference in perception between the government of India and the US authorities in regard to the emoluments of domestic assistance sent with Indian diplomats abroad. The government of India gives to its diplomats a composite package which includes salary and perks.
Yes.
This is so for all officials. Now, domestic assistants are also sent abroad on official passports, on official duty, and their emoluments are included in those of the officer with whom they are going, the officer whom they are accompanying. On the other hand, the United States takes the wages as being $10 an hour for domestic workers. And now the State Department has begun to insist that perks will not be included.
Yes.
If you go to the website of the State Department, it says that as of March 2011, deductions will no longer be permissible for accommodation, medical care and travel. It also says that as of April 12, deductions will also not be permissible for food. But the fact of the matter is, the government of India gives a composite package which includes the perks. And the composite package is much, much more than what a $10 per hour wage would be amounting to. For instance, as I said, my domestic assistant had a fully furnished apartment on the Upper East Side of New York.
Yeah.
She had full medical coverage. She was given boarding. Her travel passage was paid for, and the home leave passage would also have been paid for. So in the perception of the government of India, it was much more substantial than a package of $10 an hour given to a wage earner who has to fend for himself or herself and find accommodation, find medical coverage, even buy the metro card, which is very expensive. So I would like to say that because of this difference in perception of what the emoluments given to the domestic assistants are,
Yes.
the problems can keep recurring. And I'm in touch with my colleagues in New York, and there is a feeling of fear there.
Well, that's totally understandable, actually. But how does this actually go forward, Mr. Dayal, from here? On which side does the onus actually lie, you think?
I think we have to convince the United States of our position. First of all, they must agree to accord immunity to our officials in the consulate, because the officials who are being posted are from the same cadre of the Foreign Service as the officials who are being posted to the embassy in New York or the permanent mission in New York. Secondly, I think we have to engage in a dialogue with the United States and make them realize that, for instance, as far as the domestic assistants are concerned, the government of India does everything possible to ensure their well-being. It gives them a very handsome package, and that these domestic assistants, because they are official passport holders, should be governed by Indian laws, because the government of India monitors their welfare. They are not like other domestic workers in New York who are hired from the street or from agencies, who come and work for you and go away after their duty hours are over. These domestic assistants are part and parcel of our families of the diplomats. And through dialogue, I think we could make the United States see the correctness and the validity of our position.